But what's important to appreciate, and this is a very hidden part of the history of immigrants, is their contributions to society. Now, an important group of immigrants during the first Great Wave that helps us recognize that the injustice that can be perpetrated by a powerful nation over a weaker one, there's this group that Mexicans are going to call the San Patricios, the St. Patrick's Battalion. Now, when we take a look at the St. Patrick's Battalion, it provides us an example of immigrants who are going to witness injustice and they're going to take a stand against immorality. Now, you can imagine an important population, an immigrant population, coming to the shores of this nation. And they want society to accept them on equal terms. So they decide to join the military. Many times they didn't have a choice. And often they hope to prove to America their desire to become part of an egalitarian experiment. So their journey leads them to Texas, to South Texas. And in South Texas, they experience a nightmare of prejudice, discrimination, segregation, and involvement in actions by soldiers deemed as genocidal. The dismemberment of innocent elders, women, and children. Now, the racist expressions of the U.S. military in South Texas in 1846 is going to prompt an American soldier of Irish descent to defect and to join the opposing forces. Now, John Riley convinces numerous immigrants, the majority Irish and German, to take a stand against injustice. Before war is declared against Mexico, a battalion of Irish immigrants in the U.S. military decide to defect and fight for Mexico. And when the United States declares war, Captain John Riley will already have a regiment in the Mexican army known as Los San Patricios. They will form a battalion and meet their familiar enemy on the front lines of battles in the Mexican War known as Tamaulipas, Coahuila, and Monterrey. Now, the St. Patrick's Battalion will bravely fight for what they consider to be the side of justice, morality, and honor. And throughout the U.S. war with Mexico, the battalion will be reinforced by deserting immigrant soldiers of the American Army. And they would rather run away from death. They faced death by switching sides because they chose to fight in the front lines against an enemy they judged morally in the wrong. So we're going to take a look at a film clip that records the legend of Los San Patricios. We're going to listen to a song honoring the St. Patrick's Battalion. So let's witness a film clip from a movie honoring their heroic decision. The movie is known as One Man's Hero. Now, Tom Berenger plays Captain John Riley. So when the Irish are captured at the Battle of Churubusco, due to the fact that General Santa Anna retreated his forces, leaving the immigrants vulnerable, as prisoners of war, those who defected prior to the declaration of war are spared death. Those who defected prior to the declaration of war are to be branded on their cheek the letter D for deserter. Those who defected during the war are condemned to be ceremoniously hung. General Winfield Scott arrogantly proclaims that the hanging of the St. Patrick's Battalion is to occur once the American flag displaces the Mexican flag flown over the castle of Chapultepec. So Los San Patricios patiently waited with a noose around their neck for the cry wailing from the Niño Héroe's death. The children's last stand against injustice, if anybody knows anything about the Mexican War. The Mexican flag being replaced by the American flag signaled their death. So let's watch today's modern rendition of the San Patricios experience. In this film clip, we will see Tom Berenger take on the role of John Riley, captain of the St. Patrick's Battalion. The scenes are taken from the film One Man's Hero. Please listen to the words of the song composed especially for this clip. David Rovich provides honorific tribute to the men who died for Mexico. And let's go to One Man's Hero.
My name is John Riley. I'll have your ear only a while. I left my dear home in Ireland. It was death, starvation, or exile. When I got to America, it was my duty to go. Enter the army and slog across Texas to join in the war against Mexico. And it was there in the pueblos and hillsides that I saw the mistake I had made. myself and 200 Irishmen decided to rise to the call. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We marched neath the green flag of St. Patrick, emblazoned with Erin go bragh, right with the harp and the shamrock and Libertad para la Republica. Just 50 years after Wolfe Tone, 5,000 miles away, the Yanks called us a legion of strangers, and they can talk as they may, but from Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We fought them in Matamoros while their volunteers were raping the nuns. In Monterrey and Cerro Gordo, we fought on as Ireland's sons. We were the red-headed fighters for freedom amidst these brown-skinned women and men. Side by side we fought against tyranny, and I dare say we'd do it again. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. And victims of fate. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. From Dublin City to San Diego, we witnessed freedom denied. So we formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side. We formed the St. Patrick Battalion and we fought on the Mexican side.
Pretty fascinating. Okay, so when John Riley was in prison, he penned a letter to a friend in Michigan explaining to him why he made the decision to fight against the United States. And in it, he hinted that the war was immoral, and that the war reflected the experience of the Irish with the British in their defense of the homeland against Protestant indifference. In all my letter, I forgot to tell you under what banner we fought so bravely. It was the glorious emblem of native rights, that being the banner which should have floated over our native soil many years ago. It was St. Patrick, the harp of Erin, the shamrock upon the green field. So Los San Patricios are an example, or an exemplary illustration that immigrants coming to America do have a conscience. An important group of immigrants during the first Great Wave that helps us recognize the injustice that can be perpetrated by a powerful nation over a weaker one are the San Patricios. The St. Patrick's Battalion provides us an example of immigrants who witnessed injustice and took a stand against immorality. Okay,